This episode of Super Legit brought to you by Norman, Oklahoma, building an inclusive community. The extra bold, extra good, spicy cherry taste of Pib Extra. And we have been trying to reach you about your auto insurance. You may qualify for a lower rate. Please press 1 to speak to one of our agents, or press 0 to opt out. Welcome back to the Super Legit Podcast. I have my favorite people around me, most of them. We are missing Chris Sanders this week. I know that's sad, but we've got Ali Maher back. Yay!
Yay!
For anyone who was wondering or cares, my name is Jet Kaufman, and I'm gonna toss out a question here. I'm just gonna get this going right off the bat. I'm gonna send it to Michael Heiman first.
No,
that's right.
You gotta. Oh wait,
I'm looking at you on the camera, Michael Heiman.
Never mind.
Yeah,
I was gonna direct this in some way, and I realized I was foolish. So go ahead.
Oh, all right. Direct, and that could be relevant here because the question I'm going to ask is, what job did you want as a kid? And assuming it's not the job you have now, why didn't it work out?
Well, when I was a child in the elementary school age, I did want to be a professional wrestler because I did watch professional wrestling and I did think it was real. And I thought that's so cool and fun. I think for obvious reasons, I am not in any way a physical, imposing physical figure like many professional wrestlers are. Although knowing now the level of improv they do, I think I could manage some of that. But
who did you want to be?
Who?
Yeah, would you be a heel or a whatever the opposite?
No, you're a white
heel
baby face all day.
Yeah.
Like
a heel or a face. That's what it is.
I don't know. I think I would definitely. I mean, I think I would be introed easily as a face. I think I could have a really cool heel turn though, because no one would expect it with me.
I think you'd be a valet, but like the manager.
Just a loudmouth on the side yelling up at him, yelling at the ref.
But then you can become a tag team. Like you're an unexpected tag team duo. Like he's like, I need my manager. Boom, tags you.
Yeah.
Oh, this I need to see.
Let me ask you this. Did you honestly at one point look in the mirror like Paul Bearer and go, oh, yes?
I mean, I can't say no when you put it like that. But...
Since you know so much about this, I gotta toss this to you now, Josh Spence.
About wrestling? Yeah, let's talk about wrestling.
Well, sure, but it's not going to be about wrestling. But it could be.
But
maybe it's about wrestling.
You don't know his answer.
Josh and I talk about wrestling all the time.
I don't know your answer.
That's one of the secret side conversations that you and I have.
That's right. So, Josh, same deal. What was the job you wanted growing up? And assuming it's not what you're doing now, why didn't it work out?
Professional Ghostbuster.
Oh.
And why didn't that work out?
Because I wanted to be the ghost and not the Ghostbuster.
That's fair.
I liked Slimer. Slimer was cool.
How could you not?
Like, you got to eat all those hot dogs and run through walls and slime people.
And he was likable. He was a likable guy.
He's an anarchist.
He was a likable blob.
Yeah, but then it turns out he's actually Louis C.K.
Yeah.
I mean, all those things apply.
Wasn't he actually modeled after John Belushi?
Yeah, but Louis wasn't eating his hot dog. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, Ellie.
He was jerking his hot dog.
We knew, Josh.
Boy.
We knew.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanted to be a Ghostbuster. That was, I think, I don't know if you guys had this as kids, but there was just like that one movie that you watched over and over and over again. And like I would finish watching Ghostbusters, like stop it, rewind it onto the VCR, look up VCR children, and then watch it again. Like,
that was huge. And I remember going to a supermarket with my mother, and there was one of those there was a contest to win the Ectomobile, the Ecto-1.
Ecto-1.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, we have to win the Ecto-1. She's like, there's no point. You can't. It's not even street legal. It's too tall. It's not gonna. It's not gonna. It's like we have to win the Ecto-1.
The taxes,
right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like. I think we did enter the contest and we didn't win it. And I'm sure that's for the best, because what would we have done with it? We lived in an apartment at the time.
That would have been cool, though, man.
How old were you? Were you old enough to know that she wrote your neighbor's name down?
Probably, yeah.
Well, I've recently learned, which I should have known, that every single time they have one of those things where they want you to fill out the form so you can win the thing, it's a total scam. And it's something
I learned
where
that years later.
Yeah. I think I filled one of those out a few years ago in front of my father-in-law, who's like a retired lawyer and a very smart person. And I'm pretty sure my esteem in his eyes just went like, because I was like, it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to win a car. Why am I getting all these robocalls for auto insurance suddenly?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen C. James.
It
seems appropriate to head right over to you. So same thing. What did you want to do as a child, and are you doing it now, or why not?
When I was a kid, like my son's 5 going on 6, and when I was in kindergarten, first of all, we did it in an actual kindergarten. But I wanted to be a doctor, a scientist, or a race car driver. Those were my 3 things that I wanted to do. I'm doing none of those. I'm a middle school trauma teacher, but I'm also kind of doing all of those because it's definitely like social science. Like watching these kids, observing, trying to figure out like what combination is going to go, like literal, like on stage casting chemistry. And doctor, I have held more like children's teeth in my hands, like as like maladies and like the amount of times that like, because kids lose teeth in class and they're like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, give me the tooth. Give me the tooth.
Well, that's a dentist.
Yeah. Okay. A tooth doctor.
Also, can I tell you?
How dare you?
Yeah, dentist,
how dare you,
not
Allie,
scientist.
besmirch the fine doctor? They're still called.
It's less college. But I know what you do for a living, and I still heard I'm a trauma teacher. And I was like,
that could be very... We did hear about the trauma that you instilled upon your students last episode. Yeah,
that is true.
Wow. Okay. 2020.
That is a much better job. And then race car driver, I'm consistently late everywhere that I go, including to my garage for the recording of this podcast. So yeah, I'm definitely somebody who can, I used to be a very fast driver. And then I moved to California and that stopped because California, the drive, it's crazy here on the roads. It's just completely different. And back when I lived in Texas, it was just like, whee, look, I can push my gas pedal all the way through the floor. And here it's just like 2 and 10 o'clock. Everybody's on meth on this road.
Yeah, there's this big backlash against self-driving cars amongst drivers. Like you'll see in these driving blogs, and like all the drivers are like, "This is a terrible thing. I don't want self-driving. I want to be able to drive my car." And every once in a while, you'll get someone who will point out in the comments, and sometimes it's me because I copied this basic concept from other people. But like, we don't get to drive; we get to commute. Most of us never actually have the opportunity to drive our cars. We get to sit on a freeway and bumper to bumper. I mean, even in the midst of the coronavirus right now, the traffic has come back up enough that traffic is nearly as bad as it was most of the time. So I rarely even get to drive the speed limit, if even the speed limit. And the speed limit's not, a driver really experiencing their vehicle. It's just you commuting. It's you following the rules on a basic road.
The ones who are experiencing their vehicles are the ones that get everyone else in danger and in trouble and wind up on the shoulder that creates the traffic that I fucking sit in, right? So maybe you didn't earn the right to drive your car, Mr. Lambo. Like that's like
yes.
If you want, it's like if you want a car, also buy a racetrack. That's how I feel about that.
Going back to Steven real quick, I like that he admitted that he was late, but like it's cool that he's late because he has a fucking family. Michael Heiman was late because he wanted to eat his turkey soup.
Hey man,
Right?
I was
Those
making
are both
soup,
valid life choices.
and it takes a long time. If you want to do it right, and then you got to eat it, and it's soup. It's hot. You've got to you can't just drink it down. You'll burn your throat. So you just got to drink it. Eat it.
And that is honestly, I will say.
Would you say it takes like 9 months to make it?
That is the best metaphor for parenting I've ever heard, Michael. Thank you for that. I respect your choices. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, and Allie Maher. Oh my
What's
God,
up?
we're so happy to have you back. Welcome.
I'm so happy to be back.
So, same basic question. You got the drill. I'm not going to repeat it.
Oh, what did I want to be as a child?
Yes, and are you doing it? And why not? If you're not,
Well, I really wanted to be Vanna White as a child. I didn't understand.
But you're blonde.
Yes, I did not understand the concept. I was too young to understand the concept of like, oh, I want to be a game show hostess, or I wanted to just grow up to be Vanna White. So like, I would walk around in like little sequin dress, like anything sequin. I also loved like old movies. Like my mom said she'd always put on cartoons and she'd go make dinner and she'd come back and I'd have on like the black and white movie. And like, there was just something about like the glamour, you know, that I desperately wanted. And I'm a preschool teacher. So yeah, my life is so glamorous. I wear high heels to work every day.
I'll say this: you are still presenting letters to people.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm still not the person in control of the energy, you know? I'm like, everything's happening around me, and I'm like, A, B, C, you know? Yeah, so that didn't, I mean, and besides that, I think there was a brief time where I wanted to be an author when I was like in elementary school. I really wanted to be a writer, and I remember we used to take these standardized tests, like, it felt like every year, maybe it wasn't, but that's how it felt. And there was one year where like, they were like, okay, and you're going to do like a composition at the end, you know? And I remember very clearly being like, raising my hand and being like, is there a time limit? They were like, no, there's no time limit. And you just have to answer the question. I took the whole day. I came back to school the next morning. They put me in the guidance counselor's office. And I like wrote like pages and pages and pages. And finally they were like, okay, there's a time limit. Like you're done. You know, like you can't spend 2 days of school taking this one test. And so a writer, I guess, was the other
I
one.
like that at that school they now have the Allie rule.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like, here's an egg timer with Allie's face on it. And when she's frowning, you have to stop. So.
Super.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for coming in here today. My name is Dr. NASCAR. And what I do is when there's situations where highly creative and highly paid people can't work together, it's my job to make sure that they work together. So I understand that you guys are a wrestling faction and you guys are considering a heel turn. You guys decide want to be bad guys, but you guys can't do this.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do that, brother. We're going to turn bad, be heels. That's what the plan is. You got to help set everyone straight.
Team Fuzzy, we're just really sick and tired of people not respecting us. Like, we're considered sort of like the 4 kindest wrestlers in the WWW. And so it's just one of those things where we want to make sure that, like, people realize that we're tougher than we
Professor
seem.
Care Bear? Professor Care Bear.
Yeah.
Hi. Did you just hear what your partner Supernova Kane just said?
Of course, I always listen to what Supernova Kane says. I realize that this is a relationship.
What did he say?
What he said is, yeah, we're gonna take a heel turn.
Maybe the problem is my energy is more suited for a heel type than for being the caring type that you ninnies want to play.
Well, Supernova Kane, first of all, ninny's a hurt word.
It is.
Second of all,
can we refrain from that, please?
And second of all,
sorry, Professor. Sorry.
I just want to make sure that you're aware that, you know, one of those reputation is something that takes a lifetime to build and a second to destroy. And once we take a heel turn, there's no going back.
Mucho Mas, you haven't said anything yet. You're the Lucha Libre wrestler of the group. How do you feel about this? Like,
you know what I love most about you, Mucho Mas? The fact that your American accent is perfect, and there's absolutely no opportunity for someone to accuse you of any sort of cultural appropriation with your characterization of your, you know, Mucho Mas personality. It's just you've completely absorbed and accepted exactly who you are.
It's highly admirable, brother. I feel like it's more of an ironic nickname rather than a straightforward caricature.
Yeah, I think because it's so lived in, people really do want Mucho Mas of you as a character. If I can pay you that compliment.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah, totally into it. Yeah. No, I just like, I commit all the way to just who I am, but I wear the mask. And that's it. And I feel like the mask is me just representing my respect for the culture. But of course, I would never do anything to disrespect the culture, such as representing myself as anything that I am not.
How about Mucho Mas Jr.? What does Mucho Mas Jr. have to say? You usually speak for him because you guys are a tag team, but maybe Mucho Mas Jr. has something to say about this considered heel faction. Mucho Mas Jr.?
Yes, I am trying to find the culture within me, and I respect my father's decisions not to talk the way that my mother talks, but I will do what I want to do. Thank you for this time.
Such a polite young person.
Yeah.
Such a polite young person.
Yeah, we raised him up real right.
Always short and to the point.
You know, people don't really keep family businesses anymore. I'm glad that in the tradition of the Von Erichs and the Rock Johnsons, that you folks were able to, you know, continue on. So Mucho Mas Jr., cheers to you. Now, I was wondering, you know, if I recall, you've had generations of just being faces, you know, the beautiful faces in the Mucho Mas family for years. How do you feel about this idea of a heel turn? To me, I'm sorry, Supernova Kane, but it just seems, I'm going to say it, and I hope no one's offended, it seems rushed. There, I said it.
Yeah, I gotta go with you. At this point. I feel like we are who we are inside, whether or not that's what's represented on our masks, and we have to be true to ourselves, and I don't think it's true to me to make this turn. I feel like it's true to me to be the kind representative that I am for whatever cultures feel like I represent them.
What about you, Mucho Mas Jr.? Or Mucho Masito, one might say?
Oh, gracias. I would like to be the good guy, just because I think right now it is very important in the political atmosphere that my people are seen as good people. Thank you for the time.
This kid is so smart. So smart. You know, we need more heroes in this world, Supernova Kane. I think there are enough bad guys. I mean, think about it. We've got Blood Rain, we've got Face Punch, we've got Laser Lip. I mean, they've got all the bad guy stuff handled. What if we just stayed as a group of nice people that kids could root for, without feeling like they need to break a chair over their little brother's necks?
But that's what they want to see. They want to see the chair, the action. They want to see the blood rain. That's why those guys are selling the t-shirts, man.
I would like to say that the same way that I make my own choices inside my family, I think that Supernova Kane should make his own choices as well. And I will love you, even if you decide to be bad guy. Thank you for this time.
Thank you, Mucho Masito. That's so accepting and kind of you. Oh, makes me so mad. You're so good.
You know what, Supernova Kane? I think you need a partner. One that's going to help you do the dental drop on everybody. And if these three so-called ninnies, as you say, won't help you...
Oh my.
I'm here to help you.
Whoa, your shirt! It literally exploded!
Dr. NASCAR!
It's me, Cankersaur!
Dios mío!
Oh my god, it's
Cankersaur?
My long-lost brother!
Oh, that chair really hurts my back!
Oh!
Grab that chair, Supernova Kane!
You clearly herniated one of my discs! Oh, it's so herniated!
Oh.
Just don't look at Professor Care Bear. He's gonna try to stare you down. Don't do it. I got him in a full Nelson. Get him, Supernova Kane! And for you, Mucho Mas.
Oh no.
How about a little less from you?
Mucho less.
Technically, you just would not say the mucho part. Thank you for this time.
Legit.
And that's the bottom line, because Supernova Kane said so.
There's no copyright infringement because those were all made up.
Oh yeah.
If you smell what the Cankersaur is hurting.
They're smelling Cankersaurs. I completely fell out of wrestling. Like, it was one of those things where I was a kid, and I totally loved it. It was every Saturday night in my house before SNL. We'd watch wrestling, and I just fell out of it at some point. I was like, no, I'm done.
So here's the thing, listeners. One warm up we've started doing before the show is saying one thing we really appreciate about each other, and
really lifting that veil lately.
It's a love fest, right? And I actually really lied about Michael Heiman. The favorite thing I love about Michael Heiman is that both him and I have gotten back into wrestling, and we text each other and share storylines. Like it was, what was it, Thursday? At Thursday, like at 8 in the morning, like all caps. Dude, did you watch AEW last night? He's like, bro, I'm sleeping. He's like, I was like, you fucking talk to me as soon as you watch it. And then at like noon, I'm at my desk and I get this, I look it up, and in all caps from Heiman, Sting's back in the ring. What the fuck, bro?
Oh, really?
I feel like when my mom and her best friend were recapping their stories to each other when I was a kid, like, Erica Kane did what? I don't know.
What's funny is to mirror what Josh was saying when we were talking before the show, me talking about the specifics you bring, Steven, and you dropping the Von Erichs in there in that scene. I was like, I'll be honest, like 6 months ago, I didn't know who they were. I was watching this documentary from Vice, The Dark Side of the Ring, and there's this whole thing about the Von Erichs. I was not aware of this at all when I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid, up until like, I think I stopped when I was like 12. I stopped watching it and then picked it back up recently. And it's just like, that's the thing I was talking about.
Well, the Von Erichs are from my part of the world. They're from the area of Texas that I'm from. And I had a thing like 6 months ago. I feel like this happens to me all the time where I think, you know what? I should write a script and then the next day I read in Variety where somebody's like just closed the deal on their script about that thing. But I was like, the Von Erichs would be a great story. And it turns out the guy that wrote Mary Marcy Magdalene, I think, was the movie.
Yeah.
He is doing a movie about
John
that.
Hawkes.
Yeah. And I'm there for it. But it's such a great story.
I never watched wrestling as a child, but like 5 years ago, I moved back to the suburbs, and like the people I was hanging out with, like that was what they did. Like that was their thing, And I was like, I don't know. Like I was kind of snubbed it a little bit, And so I went to a couple like pay-per-views at people's houses and stuff, and then I was like, wait, what? What's going on? Like the story, the soap opera of it. It was like, I was like, this is like Harry Potter and like unitards. Like I was like, who's that character? Who's that character?
Yeah.
And then there's like, and so, but like I remember one of the first ones I was watching, and they had the tag team duos going, right? And then they had the Spanish announcers table. And I remember I was like, oh, what would be cool is if the Spanish announcers just stood up and they were like, we're sick of this shit. And they ripped open their shirts and they were a tag team duo. And like the 20 people I was with turned to me and were like, what did you just say? I don't know. It seems like the natural next step. And like all these hardcore fans were like, that would be the sickest thing I've ever heard. And like, they were like,
that is pretty
genius.
They
they were losing their minds. And I was just like, I don't know. It just seems like something you should do. Who are the nachos? Like,
see, like, I did not grow up with wrestling at all. My mother was a single parent, super pacifist. And also like, there were definitely, she never saw herself as a judgmental person, but there were certain things she was clearly super judgmental about. So growing up, like wrestling was clearly the dumbest thing in the world. Clearly a thing that, only unintelligent people would watch. Like these aren't necessarily things she said, but it was what I just inferred about it. And especially like, I didn't get that obviously not everyone knew it was fake, but I didn't get that plenty of people completely accepted, like it's scripted. Well, yeah,
coordinated, choreographed.
Right,
I think fake is probably the wrong word. It's not like,
and I'll get there too. Yeah. Like that was one of the things that as an adult, I finally started paying attention to it because one of our Michael and I had a coworker, friend, associate on our theater company whose husband is a wrestler,
right?
And that was one thing that got me to start knowing a little bit about it. And then we had another teammate on Jerk Chicken, Josh Tariff, who was really involved in wrestling, and also just in general.
He also knows Brandon.
Yes,
he knows him.
Well, and that was the thing is like the two of them were doing wrestling together in this awesome thing called Wrestling Pro Wrestling, which was this comedy wrestling experience.
No, there was a 2-person team. It was Josh and I guess maybe the guy Brandon. Oh my God, I know he's the guy who in Dave Made a Maze wound up playing the Minotaur. But they had a show that they used to do at the Social. where it was the two of them, and they would have like wrestling promos in between scenes where one character would be the heel and one character would be the face. And I cannot tell you how much joy I got out of booing the heel. Like, to be able to be in an improv show and just loudly, vigorously just be like, boo! Yeah. Boo! It was such a good concept.
I went to one of these shows. Actually, I went to a couple of these shows that Josh Tariff's company did, Wrestling Pro Wrestling. And it was one of the most incredibly enjoyable experiences because the wrestling itself turned out to be really good and entertaining because they are really talented at what they do. They are athletes, and the whole description, and that was the thing I was going to say, is the whole description of it being fake is that's a complete.
It's not fake.
Yeah, well, right. The physical things they're doing are all incredibly real.
Yes.
The grapples they're doing, the leaps they're doing, the moves they're doing, it is to some degree heavily coordinated. It is orchestrated. They have a plan, and the writing, of course. Yeah, and all of the, it's all pre-written for the most part. There are certain things that happen in the moment, and there's tons of improv. But the physical wrestling is extremely strenuous, extremely difficult, extremely dangerous, and some of the moves I saw were insane. And then the stories, yes, they're ridiculous. They were intended to be.
Yeah.
And once I understood that, it's like, oh, this is just like it's like a soap opera. It's like all of these other things. I grew up watching Power Rangers well into my 20s. Like that was good writing.
It's Power Rangers.
It was entertaining.
But this is something that like kind of like first off, one of the things I will say is I used to love watching the referees because they had earpieces and you could see when a decision was being changed. Like you would see a ref go down and be like 1, 2, guess what, you're losing now, 3, like you can see, like anyone who's done theater knows that some shit just went down in that person's ear, but the thing that kind of freaked me out was like I was into it when we were watching TV because you're like, oh, this is a show. Then I went to Brooklyn and saw a WWE like live Raw event or something.
Yeah.
And people, it was terrifying in the sense of like, I don't trust the masses, like this is how we got where we are politically because these people, everyone knows that what's happening isn't real, but because we're all experiencing it together, it's like, yeah, fuck that guy, like everyone's like the emotions are real. It's true. Like your visceral reaction to what's happening, even though you know that this isn't real. Like
I had never been to one of these shows before, and I was 100. Like if everyone was booing this guy, then he's clearly the worst person. Right. I didn't know any of the backstory, but I am booing, I am cheering, I am feeling all the emotions that I don't understand.
This is like people were like, experience. I don't understand Trump rallies, and I'm like, you've never been to a WWE Raw live show.
I 100% agree with Ali because the one wrestling show that me, Mike, and Jet went to. Jet, if you meet Jet, he's like...
I don't think Mike made it.
Yeah, I didn't get to go. I'm sad now. I really want to go.
Me and Jet, like...
Thanks for showing up, Mike.
Jet is...
I wasn't here.
The nicest guy you'll ever meet, but you'll see him go, rip his fucking head off! Rip his fucking head off!
In fairness, all of their heads were made of paper mache.
Sure.
Yeah.
One of my favorite photos I've ever I ever shot was at that wrestling match. There's a photo from across the ring of a guy I guess he's on a date, but the dude is like 100% like eyes super wide, arm raised, yelling, just yeah, and the girl next to him like chin in palm, looking down, like kicking the dirt, like, is this over yet? The photo is called Worst First Date. It's the best.
That was me at every sports event I ever got taken to. Like, and I was so ungrateful. Like, I went to some really cool, like, oh, we have, courtside Knicks tickets, and I'd be like,
another Game 7 I have to go to?
I understand the groaning. It's
why is it triple overtime for the championship? Why can't they just call it a tie?
I actually said the words like, I don't like the sneakers squeaking. I don't want to sit courtside. Like, that was a real thing I said to somebody.
What's the most fun sporting event you've been to, though? What's the one where you were like, oh, they might be able to convince me about this one?
Oh, easy. And this is going to sound like I am made of money. I'm not. I happen to...
She's made of coins.
No, this is hard to explain. I knew people who were professional sports gamblers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes instead of if people owed them money, instead of getting paid cash, they would get paid. It was like a trade, right? So I would often get legend seats. They're like the box seats at the Yankees games. And so I would but it was just like this one season that I would go to. And so I went like
what year?
Old Yankee Stadium or new Yankee Stadium?
That was my question. Old Yankee?
Okay, it was the transition. So I went old Yankees old and then we went to the new, I think. Right? So it was like maybe it was just new now that I'm thinking about it. But it must have just been new.
It's important that we resolve this issue.
I'm trying to think about it when this was happening.
Well, yeah, old Yankee
the new
Stadium
was
legendary.
brand new, but I can't
true.
remember if we were going to the old one or not. But the game I'm talking about is definitely new, right? But it was the beginning of the new stadium.
Sure, okay.
And this is Yankees like Sexy Texiera, Melky Cabrera, and my seats were like right on their dugout. And I would just catcall, like they'd be running in and I'd be like, "Shake it, boys!" Like just making them feel like pieces of meat. And I got 2 or 4 seats because they're in couples, and it depended on like what guys owed who money and like who owed me money. And so like I would just get these seats, but they were like $1,600 a piece. And so I'd take a friend or a couple friends or whatever, and you'd go to this big buffet. We would go to games like hours early because we would just sit and eat like lobster, and it was not a sporting event for us. It was like an event,
Mm-hmm.
And for my birthday, I got 4 legend seats, and I was like, and so I got matching Yankees jerseys for me and the 3 girls I was taking, and we wore like little cutoff shorts and I was like 24, like pigtails, and we thought we were so cute, and so we went to the legend seats, and I got a bottle of Kettle One and lemonade, which everyone knows is what P. Diddy drinks at the white party. And I got it, and
everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Everybody
Everyone knows that.
Everybody know it.
That's the P. Diddy drink. That's why he has his own vodka label now, because he just was like sick of paying for it, so he got his own fucking vodka label. And
That's how you solve that problem.
Yeah. And so I got like vodka and lemonade, and like the whole section. I was like, just pass it out, and like passed out. Like I got like bottle service and like passed it out, and we had the best time at this game. And it actually turned out that we were the first people to get bottle service at the new stadium. So they took a picture of the 4 of us like standing on the dugout in our little outfits with our bottles, and they put us on the website. And so I was on the Yankees website for like a long time, but the stadium website at least.
Nice.
And it was the most fun game. I don't know who won. I don't know who lost. I met everyone in that section. Like instead of cheering like "Let's go Yankees," they were like "Let's go Allie." Like it was the most fun I've ever had at a football game.
With the closer. Oh my goodness.
Whoa, I've never been to a chess championship before. This is wild. This is the coolest date ever. Man, I don't know anything about chess at all, but this just looks so fucking cool.
Let's go Frosted. Let's go Frosted.
I'm just glad I could take you here, Joey. I just really feel like I'm trying to, just like our relationship, it's moving on to the next level, so I thought I'd take you to what I'm really into.
Oh, fuck yeah. Push up to Queen's Rook 4. You see that? Yeah, take that. Take that clear. Frosted. Let's go Frosted.
Kurlienko, you move in on him like a bitch. You move in on like
Let's
a bitch, Kurlienko.
This is so great. I had no idea. Like, when you told me I was coming here, I figured this could be super low-key and quiet, like one of those tennis kind of things, but, like, people are into it. Yeah!
No. Here in the chess world, we really believe that passion is what really is the castle to our Lucian defense, We really feel that it's a matter of just, we're all pawns moving forward, so we may as well have fun until we get to turn into a queen.
Look at this asshole doing the scoop slam move to G4. What's that? That's the same shit he did in 97. Punk ass.
Oh my god, piss on your en passant shit.
Wow. I don't know what any of this means, and I didn't understand any of the words coming out of your mouth, but I have never wanted you so fucking bad before. Like, this passion is hot.
Well,
Hey, man, that's really good to hear. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Oh, wait,
These, by the way, these are all of my friends.
Let's go, Frosted.
Yeah. We like to call ourselves the Checkmates. But it's just this is the kind of the crew I hang with. These are my friends. Do you guys want me to give him your chess names or like your regular street names?
You know we don't use our street names up in here.
I know. Oh. I just didn't know because I gotta say, guys, I think this one. I'm sorry to embarrass you, hon. I think this one could last. That's why I brought him here. I let him know how special you guys are. Anyway, up here in the glasses and the blue shirt that says Voltaire on it, that is my good friend, 64 Squares.
What's up, bitch?
Feisty, fierce, intelligent, and I once saw her throw a marble knight so hard it ricocheted and hit both competitors. Yeah.
You can call me the White Queen.
And then over here...
That motherfucker is about to do the John Starks. If he does the John Starks again, I'm gonna throw the table. I'm gonna throw the table.
It's like how many times can you do the same move over and over again? I know we like to have a signature move, but at that point, I know how to defend from it. So what's the point?
Starks was a bag boy and never deserved to play for the Knicks.
If it works, it works.
It doesn't work every time. When you have your dark square bishop going the exact same way, you leave your king vulnerable. I can get you in 18 moves.
So easy.
Sorry, bud. I'm 64 Squares. She's the White Queen. Keep going. I'm sorry.
And then, of course, my friend over here with the wisp of a beard is, of course, the Rook.
Yeah,
now,
it's your boy.
We call him the Rook because this guy only goes in one direction at a time, but man, he goes all the way.
Yeah. You can't stop me when I'm going that way.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you there was one night we got a little too drunk at the chess game, and this guy, he can go all the way down the board. You know what I'm saying?
This is so wild. You guys are so fucking cool. Listen, but babe, like you got. I didn't know this side of you. What's your chess name? I gotta know your chess name.
Well, honey,
you don't want to know her chess name, bro.
I don't. Okay,
no, bro.
I gotta know. I gotta be in on this. Like, this is a whole side of you I never knew about. It is so fucking hot. I just gotta know.
Okay. I just need you to know that it's a sacred name for me. All right? These people who are close to me use it. All right? I don't know if you're ready to call me by my chess name, but I will. I trust you enough to let you hear it. I'm Slobby Fisher.
Wow.
I don't think that he's gonna understand that reference.
No. The look of nod recognition there is astounding.
Okay, so Bobby Fischer was this American player who was really famous and challenged all these Russians and was one of the best. And so I'm like that, except I'm a bit of a mess. I've actually been holding back like this whole time. I haven't been paying attention to the games because I've been paying too much attention to you. And I'll take a look at one of the boards and you'll get to see why I got the name Slobby Fisher. You dumb fucking moron!
Get it.
Jesus fucking Christ!
That's right.
You're gonna put your bishop there? You're completely exposed. Come on, King 4? Jesus fuck! Are your parents cousins? Or are they just both thalidomide babies? How do you move your pieces without drooling all over the board?
Oh my god, that's our fishy.
You.
Oh man.
Let's go, Frosted!
So that's all of me, sweetheart. That's all of me. Now, maybe this is the point in our little romantic comedy where you run away and I chase you to the airport or whatever, but maybe this is also the part where we embrace and I teach you how to move beyond checkers and go to chess.
All I can say, baby, is after this, I want a checkmate.
You're not using it right, but no, it didn't. But we love you for trying. We
love
you for trying.
We get the attention, but that just didn't.
You gotta watch the Queen's Gambit.
It's fucking wicked smart.
Legit.
My guy he started in Baltimore and then he lived in New York for a while and then he found a nice little part in
he was well traveled.
Yeah.
Boston. He's a nor'easter for sure.
Oh yeah.
Is that the term for this?
One of his parents was in the army.
I love how much all of you knew about chess. I was counting on at least one of you knowing chess, and it's like you all were just there. It's like, oh, this is great. I don't have to do any work now.
It's the John Starks. Come on, the John Starks is a classic chess move, guys.
I was prepared to help Steven, but then I heard him talk, and I was like, well, fuck me.
Okay. I know.
Steve doesn't need our help.
I'll go back to backgammon,
Everything I know about chess is basically references pulled from by the way, I'm about to downplay that I'm not nerdy enough to know about chess by saying something else that I'm super nerdy into.
Yeah.
It's all from a Vladimir Nabokov novel.
Wow.
Called The Lucian
Awesome.
Effect.
Way to deflect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not into all that weird chess stuff. I'm cool. I like Russian literature.
Yeah. I actually really respect that because I don't know what it is. I cannot seem to get through any Russian literature. Like there's something about the way
Me too.
that it's written. And I've tried so many times because I want to, but I can't, it doesn't flow like any other language
Have you tried reading it in English?
No. I've only read it in English, but I mean, when things are translated, I think they can lose the cadence and the fluidity, but I've tried like different versions and editions and
I will say Nabokov is not actually Russian literature in my humble opinion. Like I get to determine since he taught in America, it's very American in his writing, so it's not like Dostoevsky or anything like that.
Right,
I've never read any of the actual Russians, but Nabokov.
I've tried.
Yeah,
I've tried so many times and I just can't get through. And it's funny because other than my husband, my longest relationship was with a Russian man who spoke Russian, who's from the Ukraine. And every time I try to read Russian, I'm like, no wonder I couldn't understand his brain. Like, this is nonsense, it just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever.
Speaking of not making sense to me whatsoever, it's that time of the podcast episode where we actually talk about one of our favorite sponsors. It's surprising that only, I think, 11 episodes in now that we've had such amazing global sponsorships that we've had. We've had the Stroke and Shoot from Boys Toys. We've had Old Souls and Supple Dumps from Man Up Corporation. We had Hood Honkers, which is, I guess, is in federal court now. There's a class action lawsuit.
Yeah,
so,
I saw that.
we should get in on that.
So if they got enough plaintiffs to have a class action lawsuit, obviously they were successful.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, obviously it went over well.
What I guess we're trying to tell you.
I'd like to take some credit for that because, of course,
too.
we were the premiere of their advertising.
We only back winners here on the Super Legit podcast. So I'm going to toss it to Stephen St. James, and he has the ad for us this week.
Okay, let me go ahead and hit this. This is actually a little bit out of our area. So
some will call it fringe. That's more of the Michael Heiman territory, for sure.
Whoa.
Are you playing this on a VCR?
Hey.
No.
Don't horn in on my territory. You're not doing some fringe product.
It's not some fringe product. It's some folks, like I said, I'm from Texas, and this is sort of a Texas adjacent thing. So here, let me just
Arkansas?
Let me find the file and then I'll hit play on the app.
No? Okay. That was a good joke.
I smiled. Sorry. I want everyone to know that I smiled at Josh because they can't hear a smile.
We showed him respect by
that was
silent.
respect. That silence was respect for Josh.
I fucking hate you all.
So, this is for Ray. Ray needs to know I smiled.
Can I hit play now, guys? Can I hit play?
Yeah,
Sorry.
please.
Sorry. I apologize.
Here in Oklahoma, we do things a little bit different. We do things maybe a little bit slower, maybe a little bit more thoughtful, and definitely a whole lot more Republican. Well, you may have heard a lot of things about all these blue states in the nation, but we don't see much of that around these parts. But now, we're going to start. Because you can come down to Norman, Oklahoma's best new theme park, Blue States Over Oklahoma. You can come on down and get an experience of what it's like to be a real coastal elite. We've got your avocado toast. We've got your sushi. We've got your pizzas with no pepperoni on it. Down here at Coastal Elites, our food court is called Thailand. We don't know exactly what the food is, but we call it Thailand because they seem to like it on the coast. Now in the blue states, they've got all sorts of things that they're trying to force us to do. Well, you can just see how terrible it would be come on down to Blue States over Oklahoma and ride the socialized medicine. It's just a long line, and at the end of it, they give you a Band-Aid and send you on your way. And then you can hop in line for the free college. What you do is you learn a lot, and then you raise your earning potential. But then you wind up alienating all your family members because you think you're better than them. And then you can step on over to the Russian Spinaroo, where you get to see what socialism's really like. People just keep giving you stuff and giving you stuff and giving you stuff, and it's too much for your hands. You can't juggle it. You can't drop it. What are you gonna do? Socialism doesn't work. Come on down to the Blue States of Oklahoma. We may not understand those states, but we sure can make fun of them. Come on down to Blue States of Oklahoma. Just know that now, if you bring 1 can of Dr. Pepper to the Blue States of Oklahoma, you can try our vegan turkey stew. It's just water in a bowl. That's what they eat there. So come on down to Blue States over Oklahoma. Fuck you, liberals. We own ya.
Thank you, Stephen St. James. That's
by the way, I would like to say that's an ad. We don't necessarily support, what they're saying in that ad. But
I mean, I've been to Oklahoma a lot.
Yeah, I have too. I have family there.
Eastern side of Oklahoma, like the Sallisaw and Muldrow areas, and I remember going to
those are made up. Those aren't real cities.
Yeah,
name dropper.
I remember going to the local Asian restaurant. That's what they had, was an Asian restaurant, and it was
that's a big continent. So
yep, it was food. It was food.
Wait, Jet, back in my college town of Stockton, California, we had a Oriental buffet there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still there. I drove through there earlier this year.
That's at least still more specific than Asian.
But I mean, Asian is an acceptable thing. I don't think it's acceptable to still say Oriental.
It isn't, but at least it suggests a region.
By the way, the Oriental, it still is an acceptable term for things, things in the general region of the Orient. You just don't use it for humans.
Got it.
Which,
right.
I won't say which of my family members it was, but I was walking down the street in Austin with one of my family members, and I heard them drop that, and I had to look at my wife, actually then my fiance, and be like, don't worry, that's not cool with us.
So Oriental rugs is okay?
Yes, an Oriental rug is fine. Yeah.
I 100% get what Jet is talking about on the eastern side of Oklahoma, because not much has changed on the western side of Oklahoma, where my family is from. Yes, it is a real name. It's called Binger, Oklahoma.
That's in the Panhandle?
It actually, yes, it is near the Panhandle. I swear to God, I got a 12-ounce ribeye, cooked medium rare, $5. $5 flat.
Wow.
They're special.
Yeah.
I spent $6.50 for an enchilada at Taco Bell there because it was gourmet dining. So I don't want to hear anything about the culture there, because it's right next to the Oriental restaurant. It's the worst. Steven, I also wanted to ask you real quick, is Dr. Pepper the same thing in Texas as it is in Oklahoma? That's the soda of choice there?
Oh yeah. Dr. Pepper originated in Waco, Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's the Dr. Pepper Museum.
It's also the primary source of medical attention there too.
Yes, exactly. You go see Dr. Pepper, as opposed to one of them fancy liberal doctors.
If you can't afford Dr. Pepper, you go see Mr. Pibb.
A much less
can't afford
educated
that,
soda.
You talk to Shasta.
I don't even know what Mr. Pibb is. What is Mr. Pibb?
Oh, Mr. Pibb is the Coca-Cola Company's rip-off version of Dr. Pepper is Mr. Pibb.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Although it's not Mr.
You've
Pibb
never had
anymore,
Mr. Pibb?
It's now Pibb Extra.
Yeah.
Oh, Pibb.
Yes, no
With
E
a
on the
B?
front.
Pibb.
Yeah.
P-I-B.
I thought it was
Two
Mr.
Bs.
Pip. He's got a lot of personality, Mr. Pip,
That might be better than
I've
Pibb.
never... No.
Super.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. NASCAR.
Hi, Dr. NASCAR.
What I do is I talk to teams who are in the middle of turmoil, and I make them win. If you remember the '98 Chicago Bulls. I was out of the documentary, but I was part of that.
I don't.
So
no.
That's not what we're here about today.
They're one of my favorite football teams.
Okay, this is the New York Yankees.
Is it though? Are we really at this point?
You're the one.
I mean, can all of you look at one of yourselves and say we're the New York Yankees? Do you feel that in your heart? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he said it, so I'm going to believe it.
You're the doctor.
Mark. We already have Mark Teixeira on the team, and he's already called Sexy Teixeira.
Sexy taxi.
Thank you. It's not cool for you to come up with your own nickname. So you may be the life of the party. You may be fun, but nobody's going to call you Mr. Pip. It's not going to happen.
You can't give yourself your own nickname.
It's a commonly accepted rule throughout humanity, really.
You know what they call it when you make your own nickname? They call it a dick name. Because you got to be a real dick to call your own nickname.
Jeter knows what he's talking about. He is the captain of the ball club.
But who came up with the name Dick name? Because of, you see where I'm going, right? If a guy made up his own nickname and then came up with the name Dick name, that's sort of a nickname, and then who can you trust?
He didn't call himself Dick name. He said people that make up their own nicknames, it's a dick name. It can't be called a nickname.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's fair.
Like, let's.
I mean, I think we're all just trying to get ahead of it. We all know we're gonna have fans, right?
Yeah,
that's why we're here. Like, let's be honest. Like, yeah.
Do we know that though? Do we know we're gonna have fans? Do we think we all deserve fans? Do we think
for a
that
catcher,
Okay.
You're so emo for a catcher, and I know you're always saying we leave you alone. You're all by yourself there. You're barely part of the team.
Yeah, Joe, this is just you're embarrassing yourself at this point.
Back when I was playing, I had a great nickname. They used to call me the Disease. And no one ever used the name Lou Gehrig. They would just say, "Look at him go! There he is, the Disease." Great call, Lou. Could you just clear out of here? We're trying to have a meeting. Thanks.
I am feeling Lou right here. I'm feeling Lou. I think we should keep Lou here as a part of this. I don't think any of you respect Lou enough. That is the history that we come from. And if Lou is not a Yankee, who is?
Yeah,
Lou is definitely a Yankee. No one is saying he is not.
Yeah,
nobody's saying that, Joe.
Jesus Christ, Joe.
My God.
You're a real asshole, Joe. Oh, asshole Joe.
Come up from the dirt. Come up from the dirt and hang out with us.
Just trees, everybody.
Yes, Dr. NASCAR.
Okay. Listen. The one who keeps bringing up...
Sorry, I'm going to jump in real quick. I'm sorry. I'm just going to jump in. Where's your doctorate from, Dr. NASCAR?
Can we call you Doc Nass?
Oh shit.
Doc Nasty.
Other
Doc
people
Nasty, that's a nickname. Doc Nasty.
I'll take it. Do you see... Listen, Joe Borowski, which is your name, okay? Joe Borowski. There's no nickname for that, okay? We have Mark Teixeira. He's Sexy Texy. We have Chili Davis. Chili is in the name itself, okay?
Well, hey, you all know me.
Dr. NASCAR, which is...
You all know me. I'm Chuck Knobloch. What kind of nickname would you give me, Chuck Knobloch?
Nobby.
Hey.
But that's the problem, right? Like, that's what we're trying to get ahead of.
I feel like nicknames are earned, and
Nobby,
I would just call
it.
you Chuck until we get there, because I don't think any of us is good enough to have earned a nickname at this point.
All right. Well, that's you being very hard on yourself and us as a
Joe
team.
Borowski.
Yeah, and in an ideal world, I would agree with you, but we're going to get nicknames. So let's do it ourselves, right?
We made it here. We came up from the minor leagues. Let's give each other some nicknames.
But don't you all stop and think every once in a while? Did someone make a mistake? Do I actually belong here?
Nope.
Am I actually good enough for this?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, really? We are. No, we are good enough.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that.
We did not make a mistake.
Yeah,
yes, we are good enough. No one here juicing. We're here legit.
I'm a fucking Yankee.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No one here is juicing.
I'm not a fucking Cardinal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
All right.
We're not. Look, I mean,
and that's the point I actually would like to stress to all
we're
of
New
you.
York, but we're not the fucking Mets.
Yeah. Thank you.
Come on.
You guys are not Mets.
Top knobs.
All right.
Boom.
All right. I'll give you that. We're not Mets.
Joe, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you were to give yourself a nickname in here or in real life, what would you call yourself?
Wow, that's something to really think about. I gotta go. I don't know. I gotta go. The Try Harder. Joe, the Try Harder, because that's really what I aspire to do. Is try harder. I think that's what we should all aspire to do, guys. Is try harder, because that's how you get where you want to go. Is you just keep trying harder.
That's the saddest fucking nickname I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yep.
What about just the, like, orange slice for participation? Why don't you just make that your nickname? Oh my god. The Try Harder.
Actually, Orange Slice does sound good as a nickname.
Ooh, Orange Slice.
What up, Slice?
Oh. Hey, and Joe, you're the catcher. Home Slice. That's perfect.
There it is.
Hey!
Home Slice.
Legit!
Let's go, Yankees. 27 rings, bro.
I'm going to go on the record and say, fuck the Yankees. The Yankees can get burned.
By the way, I would just like to say, for the record, I did that scene under protest. I actually, for a time, trained my son to say "Boo Yankees" whenever he saw somebody with a Yankees cap, and I have much respect for the Mets.
I actually have the last foul ball that Yogi Berra ever hit.
Oh
no!
Because
really?
How?
My grandfather was a sports writer for the New York Times. He knew all of them personally. He was at Yogi Berra's final game and caught it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Now, there's of course, I don't have like documentation that can prove its authenticity because it's not a thing that you would do. It's just like, I have the ball. It's probably signed. My mother has it physically, but it gets passed on to me.
I just love you being like, 90% this is an amazing story, or 10% my grandfather's a really bad liar.
You're even a skeptic about your own family stories.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much documentation of his roles and all of that.
I like the doubt in your voice, even when you're like, this is a family heirloom. Or is it? You know?
I mean, who could read this name? It's just a scribble. Maybe my grandfather signed it himself and lied.
My brother loves to be, we have a thing like about out gifting people, but not in like a money way, just in like a fun way. So my brother and I are very similar that way. My two sisters
money is fun.
Well, that's my two sisters are like, this was on your wish list, right? But me and Danny are like very competitive about trying to find like a really fun gift. And one year, so we all love A League of Their Own. That's like a big family movie for us. And one year he gave someone a baseball inside of like a little case, and he had scribbled on it, "Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan." And he was like, I found it on eBay, but like it was clearly his handwriting, and it was like the funniest thing to me that like he went out of his way to just like lie to our family about that.
I was in the pilot and then got recast as playing the little fat kid in the League of Their Own.
You're gonna lose.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Still Angel.
Yeah, I was obnoxious enough to get cast, but apparently, thank you. I was also already half the height of my mother, in the show. So they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to cast someone smaller, and someone who can actually carry the kid."
Josh, is that still you, or did Jet transubstantiate into your body and tell the story about being cast as a kid?
It's weird how that I just transubstantiate to everywhere, because like Steven and I also have a thing in common. We actually are both big Celtics fans. I became a Celtics fan because my dad hated the Lakers, and he would rather have me root for the Celtics than root for the Lakers, even though I'm in LA.
Oh, man. Honestly, that's why I started to like the Clippers. Because I was like, I live in LA. I can't just be like, boo, LA! And I was like, oh, the Clippers are right there. And like when I moved here, the Clippers were a team where it was like, there's an old Robin Harris joke where he's like, I went to a Clippers game. It was real easy. I sat courtside because there was nobody else there. And they put me in, and I damn near had a triple-double. I was in dress shoes. But yeah, the Clippers, terrible team for years and years and years. And now they're actually like good. And it's like, oh, I started to love this team so they could break my heart.
Been there, man.
I guess I'm a Chargers fan now. That's the one I picked.
Oh,
I feel like I have
that's a weird one.
I know.
You made a good choice.
I'm with you.
I have to be a something fan, and I happened to watch Hard Knocks this year, and I was like, I really
really good.
I really like their coach. Like, I liked their team, like their heart, you know, and that's what I'm more about. I don't care if they win or lose. Like, I'm just there for the experience. So for me, or I root for the home team. Like, if I'm in a state, I'm like, yeah, you guys, this is your house. You should win, right? Like, I'm not like a diehard fan of anyone, really. Like, I thought I was. like, oh, I'm a Yankees fan. Then I went to Boston and was like, let's get a Red Sox jersey.
Let's go Sox.
My dad was like, don't call this house again. You know, like, so I realized I'm more of like an experience fan than I am.
Yeah, you're a fan.
But but I like the Chargers. I liked their coach was so awesome, and like I got to know their team on the show, and I was like, I like these guys. Like, these are my guys now. Plus, I look good in light blue.
Oh, well, obviously.
So
their light blue is the best. Like, their uniform is one of the best in like all the leagues, especially like their 70s one.
I know it shouldn't matter, but like if you don't care about sports, that's how you make your choice. You're like, I look good in these colors. Like, I will wear this for you.
I have a gift for you then. They used to have a theme song, and it's so late 70s, early 80s. It's so good. Oh my God. I'll have to try to find it on the internet and I'll email it to you. It's like Go Superchargers or something like that. It's the best.
Yeah. It's the Superchargers.
You can sing it right now.
It's really bad.
I don't know it off the top of my head. I wish I had that in my lexicon.
All right. Email.
My wife is into a sport called drift racing, which is just you've seen it in a lot of movies, including the terrible Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. But it's a competition where it's all about getting the car sideways and getting close to the walls in specific ways. And they basically eventually, it used to be just them goofing off in like the hills of Japan, but eventually it's like, we should actually figure out how to make a competition out of this and add points and ratings and all that. So they've got an annual major championship and everything that we watch online. We used to go to it in person. And this year, especially in the middle of Corona, they had to change the rules about it and do it in all kinds of specific ways. So we were watching it online every weekend, and I was tracking it more than I've ever tracked it before. Really? And so I was finally starting to actually get to know the names of the racers. And for the most part, the racers to me are their cars. So I recognize the vehicle, and you could put the person on screen, and 3/4 of the time I have no idea who the person is who was in the car. But it's like, I recognize the red Toyota Corolla Matrix. I recognize the yellow Supra. Like, I know the specific vehicles and I know the names that go to them. And this year, like, I had a favorite driver, and it was like my wife was like, wow, you've picked a favorite. It's like, it's arbitrary, but like, this guy managed to, in the middle of one of his races, his power steering went out. Whoa. And he won the race anyway. And then they had to repair it between races, and they couldn't. So he went on to the next race and won without any power steering. Went on to the next one and won without power steering. He won,
really?
Because they're running back to back. Like, it's not like these are like a 1 minute race of just one guy goes first and does a bunch of specific things. The other person has to follow them, and then they switch sides, and whoever did that best wins it.
At the end, did like the floor drop out and like his little Flintstone legs came out, and he was like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And that's how you're like by the end of some of these
race.
Yeah, by the end of some of these races, their bumpers are all gone. You know, they've torn up their vehicles on this course because sometimes they're rubbing up against the wall. They hit each other on the course and keep going. Like, there's a lot of stuff that tears up the cars. But this guy kept winning with no power steering, and that's an incredible feat when the entire thing is steering. Like, that's all you're doing is your brakes and your steering are 3/4 of that driving. And so it's like, okay, this is just my guy now. So then I was rooting for him based on just that one underdog day that he had. I think it's arbitrary for most people how they pick their things. But it's like, cool, I finally have an arbitrary thing I'm a fan of in a sport.
Well, most sports teams are because like my parents moved there and I lived in that city.
Right.
You know, and now it's like, it's in my blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm an LA native, and I've been a lifelong Dodgers fan, but that was, they're my team. That's the territory, Mm-hmm. I did pick an arbitrary team earlier this year, though, when the baseball season was up in the air. We didn't know if it was going to happen here in the States. The Korean baseball organization started up again, and I was watching KBO games, and there's 8 or 12 teams, but I picked the NC Dinos as my team because their mascot is like a brontosaurus in a baseball uniform, and his nickname is Swole Daddy.
I'm in. They're now my favorite baseball team as well. That's it.
Like,
that's all it
this
took.
is my KBO team, and I was watching NC Dinos games while they were still showing them, And then the NC Dinos won the championship as well. And they got a giant sword along with their trophy. So I got 2 championships this year.
I'm going to share this with you just real quick.
It's about time you shared something with us.
This sounds personal. I want to hear it.
It was the biggest fight I think Heiman and I have ever had was over a stupid rivalry. We were talking about food and how much like we love cooking and what inspires us. And he was like, "Hey man, have you seen what is that show on Food Network? It's Iron Chef America, right?" I was like, well, "You love that show?" He's like, "I fucking love that show." I was like,
"Yeah,
my friend's the chairman."
I was like, "I'm a Bob." It's not a
Mark Dacascos?
Yeah.
Wait, really? That's cool.
And that's the end of my story because Jet.
Jet, tell us more about your famous Hollywood life.
No, I want to hear this rivalry.
No, it was a setup. It was a setup to a joke, and it's gone too far. Nope, it's too late.
I feel
go ahead.
You gotta finish
wish
it.
I spoke.
You gotta.
That's what you get for talking.
You know, yeah. You gotta eat all the gruel.
That's twice he's jumped me.
You gotta eat all the gruel. Keep going.
See, now you can tell the story of the biggest fight we ever had, which is this.
No,
it's not the biggest fight you've ever had.
No, it's not.
What? Well, I actually want to know what's
you know what
the
you
one,
fucking did.
No, I don't
he
wanna
knows
know
what he
the big-
fucking did.
Not the biggest.
This
fight,
is the end of the
but
podcast. I'm leaving.
What do you think is the thing you fight about most? Like, what's the topic
Improv.
that you
Improv.
really?
Improv, bra.
Yeah.
In what way? I have never gotten into a fight about improv.
Oh, I guess you don't care enough about prov, brah.
Yeah, right?
Well, look, man, if you're going to be in a bass scene, you got to be realistic, all right? If you're not realistic enough and I don't feel it, like, we're going to fight about it. That's all I'm saying. Actually, I think that's why I could get Jet to be into wrestling, if anything. Because, like, he doesn't have to, like, appreciate the moves or the physicality. He could just comment on the acting of all the wrestlers. He's like, I don't see a through line through this story. What story is The Miz trying to tell here? He's not selling it. Where's the game of the scene between him and John Morrison?
The Miz
What's going on?
No one has ever said that about The Miz. He sells everything real good. He's one of the better ones. When he's doing nothing, it's entertaining.
I don't
we
know
gotta
what
get
they're
Jet to
talking
wrestle.
about.
It's okay, Steven. You have the chess thing. You got chess. All right?
Yeah.
Don't dumb yourself down.
Chess always beats out wrestling every time.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
who is that writer? Nabokov, right? That Russian writer.
Don't you also have another ad for us, Michael Heiman?
I mean, I have a ad.
An ad.
An ad.
Yeah.
An
ad.
ad. Yes, I
An
do.
ad.
An ad.
Here.
Ad.
Let me
Now it
keep
doesn't
this
sound
in
like
the
a word
edit.
anymore. An ad.
let me pop the tape in.
Is this English? Or have we switched to Russian now?
До свидания.
Нет.
Нет.
But I'm a big Bobby Flay fan, and Heiman is a big
Bobby Fischer
Morimoto.
I mean, Morimoto
fan.
was on the original Iron Chef too. I mean, you got to go with the guy.
But he's lost to Flay so many times. You root for a chump, man. That's all I'm saying.
Whoa.
See, this is what I wanted to hear about. I like this.
What I
This
also
is
like
the kind
is
of rivalry I can get into.
This is also not a fight we ever had.
No, I'm making it up.
Like, we're doing a scene now. I didn't know we were doing a scene until we were doing it.
Oh.
And now we're doing it forever.
And I won't have had an editing sound effect to jump us into the scene or
No, this is
anything.
the
Like, it's going to
meta
be so
scene.
confusing for the
Let's
audience.
just get like a big like record scratch. Just
Das Vidanya.
Okay. Let me get the tape for the ad.
I do want to stress you guys be careful because if we keep saying too many Russian things, Bert Kreischer's going to bust through the door and tell the story about he's the machine. So just be careful about
Hold
that.
off.
Mike, you got that promo?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm popping the tape in. If you let me play it, you just keep going.
Pop the tape in, bro.
Okay. Hey guys, are your girls here? Make sure they're not listening, because this ad is just for you. Have you ever had that point where you're like really getting going and you're like, oh no, I don't want to finish this. I'm a single man. I like my life. Well, that's why Crop Stoppers are for you. What are Crop Stoppers? They're cookies. You eat them, they're delicious. But it also makes you temporarily sterile. You all know that feeling when you've been watching the TV and all of a sudden America's Most Wanted comes on and you see someone, you're like, that's my uncle. Well, I bet you wish he had Crop Stoppers. Otherwise, that wouldn't happen to you. Crop Stoppers is a highly technical male
semi-sterilization cookie that you eat, and it goes straight to your crumple zones and blocks them up. You can have Crop Stoppers any time of the day, and then when you're getting it on with your lady, you're gonna say, it's Christmas in July. That's the Crop Stoppers guaranteed. No kids for you, because you're a man slinging that peen, and you're gonna get it on and feel good about it like orangutans. Crop Stoppers, for all your semi-sterilization needs.
You see, that ad we do stand behind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we rename the podcast The Crumple Zone?
I mean, I've got to say, it really is a product that sells itself. Because anybody that would feel that they need to like hear that ad and think, I need to buy Crop Stoppers, we would want that person to be sterile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Totally.
So if you had to choose today, St. James.
Oh, sorry. Say again?
If you had to choose today, doctor, scientist, or race car driver, what are you doing?
Oh. Huh. That's an excellent question. I gotta say, I think I gotta go with doctor. Simply because it's amongst those jobs nowadays, it's the most dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say that while I did initially, like, as my youngest, wanted to be a professional wrestler, I did for a while want to be a lawyer, and that was the plan, like my plan to be a lawyer up until a good chunk of the way through high school. And now that I'm seeing like all these lawyers pursuing these cases for Trump's election, I feel like I still could be a lawyer without knowing anything about the law.
Yeah.
So I might pick that up again.
I think it's this thing that I keep picking up. Like my wife keeps reminding me anytime we're dealing with anything where I feel like I'm not qualified for anything. She always says to me, "Honey, think like a white man." And like it's a thing that she's been trying to do when she's been doing job applications and everything, because it's this thing in books that she's read, especially advice for women, is think like a white man, because for the most part that's just what they do, is like, I can do this, I'm not qualified, who 100%. Fucking cares, I'm just gonna do it. And 100%. I've never had that. Maybe it's because I was raised by a single mother or whatever, and I never had that upbringing. But like that's the more I watch things like exactly what you just said, Heiman, the more I'm like, oh yeah, these people just assumed they could do this. And it does not matter that they can't.
Yes. And I will tell you, I've gotten 100% of the job interviews I've gone on, whether or not I've ever done the job or I've been qualified, because I walk in with that mindset of like, hey, I'm here to figure out if you're right for me. Like that, that is the think like a white man attitude of like, I can do this. I can do this. Of course I can. Why couldn't I do this? Of course. Like when you walk in with that attitude, it is a done deal. And then like for me, at least personally, like about 6 months in, I'm having panic attacks because I'm like, I don't know what Microsoft, like I can't do Excel spreadsheets. Like I've like totally lied about this, but
now that I think about it, I'm scared of my whole journey with you, Jet, because it's like, let's form an improv team. Why? Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll be good. Let's start a show. Well, we don't know how to do a show. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll be fine. Let's do a podcast. Okay. Well, I don't know how to do it. Yeah, you'll figure it out, Jet. That'll be great. Let's run a theater. We'll just book everything. It'll turn out fine.
That goes back to you guys talking about like what topics you fight over, but like you two are so funny because like you totally like need each other, because you're the one telling
100%.
Jet, you'll figure it out. And Jet's like, okay, Josh, but Jet,
I can get this going.
It's true.
We found a new character for
you. You just pegged us 100%.
But that's like how you were raised, right? Like everyone was like, Jet, you can do the scene. And you were like, sure I can. But like if Jet had to just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to do a podcast, like you'd be like, I can't do this. Yeah. So you guys complete each other.
Yeah. Aw.
You do.
Hold on. I think we got to end there. I think we got to end on Josh and Jet
on the Jerry Maguire.
Yeah.
You guys are, yeah.
You complete me.
You had me at yes.
You do.
And.
Well, I think that's it for us. Absolutely this week. I'd love.
Can you say goodbye in the way that Allie does your voice?
I didn't even know I did a voice. I'm sorry.
Let's give it a try. I'd like to thank the super legit crew as always.
This sounds more like you're making a judgment on Allie's voice now.
You guys wonder why I don't come.
That's a personal problem.
I thought it was the anxiety.
Crop Stoppers?
I would like to thank our multi-talented artist, Matt Walker, for the intro and outro music. You can find his website in the show notes.
Matty Walks.
Please, if you are not already subscribing to us, subscribe to us on any service, all the services, and review us on all of them. You know you love us, so give us all 5 stars.
Give us the full
tell your
service.
Friends about it, too. Mm-hmm. I hear the police on the way behind me. I'm not sure if you can hear them.
That's what happens when you don't give us 5 stars. They'll come for you.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So just do the right
Wow,
thing.
now I'm thinking like a white man.
Yeah. That's
Steven, tell the listeners again why that's funny.
Oh, that's because I'm a guy in a blue shirt. Call back. All right.
And that's
if you missed it, episode 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, deep callback.
Steven sounds like a guy who wears blue shirts.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Yeah, listen to that episode. Tell your friends to listen to that episode. Then tell them to listen to this episode, and then all the episodes in between.
And then listen to them over and over. Just re-listen.
Yeah. Start recording?
Yeah, you can start recording now.